If you merely glance at 1 Corinthians 8:5, then you can understand that proponents of divine counsel theory would gladly claim that 1 Corinthians 8:5 proves that divine counsel theory is true and correct. However, 1 Corinthians 8:5 is not any different than the related verses in the Old Testament. Remember how during the 40 years of Israelites wandering through the wilderness, Israelite judges were appointed to preside over petty cases so that Moses would not be overburdened by being the judge of many petty cases? Exodus 18:13 references Moses having been a judge all day long, from morning till evening. In Exodus 18:14, Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, asked Moses why he was doing so all day long, from morning till evening. In Exodus 18:16, Moses explained that he was the judge. In Exodus 18:17 through 18, Jethro said that all of that was not good and that Moses could not handle that task all by himself. In Exodus 18:19 through 20, Jethro acknowledged that Moses should be God's representative and teach God's statutes and laws. But in Exodus 18:21 through 22, Jethro told Moses to appoint judges for petty cases. And before the Israelites reached the end of the 40 years of wandering, God provided instructions regarding Israelites' disputes being taken before Israelite judges. For instance, in Exodus 22:9, Israelites were instructed to go before Israelite judges whenever two Israelites had a dispute over the ownership of an ox or a donkey or a sheep or a garment or a lost item. And the English word judges in Exodus 22:9 was translated from the Hebrew noun Elohim, which can get translated into the English word gods. But of course, the judges who are referenced in Exodus 22:9 were not divine Elohim. Rather, they were human Elohim judges. Referring to certain humans as Elohim is a basic impact statement. Similarly, referring to certain people as landlords does not imply that they are divine lords, but doing so is a simple impact statement. Landlords have remarkable authority over people, and so do judges. In context, they are Elohim and lords. When Paul wrote 1 Corinthians 8:5, there were various kinds of powerful officials who could have been called gods or lords, and anyone who had done so would have been making a simple impact statement, not claiming that those officials were divine gods or divine lords. And we should study Greek words in 1 Corinthians 8:5. In 1 Corinthians 8:5, the English words so-called were translated from the Greek verb lego, Strong's 3004. What does lego mean in the contexts of 1 Corinthians 8:5? If there were many so-called lego gods in heaven or earth, does that mean that there are many true gods in heaven and earth? And while you study lego in 1 Corinthians 8:5, be sure that you have read 1 Corinthians 8 verse 6. But to us, one God. 1 Corinthians 8:6 responds to 1 Corinthians 8:5. Not only do the words one God appear, but the first word is but. And it can be helpful to study the Greek verb lego, which appears in 1 Corinthians 8:5. Lego also appears in the following Bible verses. Revelation 2:20 references a Jezebel who called herself a prophetess, but that does not mean that Jezebel was a true prophetess of God. She called herself a prophetess, and the English verb calls in Revelation 2:20 was translated from the Greek verb lego. If there are certain beings in heaven and on earth whom some people call gods, that does not mean that those beings are divine gods. Rather, they are so-called gods. They are lego gods. And Colossians 4:11 is a technically different case because it references the fact that Jesus was called justice. Jesus was justice. That is what he was called by some people. And John 11:16 references the fact that Thomas was called Didymus. If someone is called by a certain name or description, then the Greek verb lego can be used to reference that fact. But calling certain beings gods does not mean that they are divine gods.